It is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on this mailbag edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. My name's Tyler Jones. I am your fearless leader. You have questions. I got answers. I've already took a sneak peek into the mailbag. I've seen you guys are asking about some potential trades like Allen Lazard and Alijah Vera-Tucker. We'll talk about that. We'll get some thoughts on OTAs and a few other things here on today's show. Let's begin with a $5 super chat from Xander, who says, I watched the press conference with Cooper Kupp, and I don't appreciate him picking on Sam Darnold on his choice of food. I love chicken strips. I love chicken strips, too. It's what Xander is referring to. There was a comment from Cooper Kupp the other day of him saying that he has to mature Sam Darnold's palate a little bit, culture him, if you will, because Sam Darnold's preference of food is chicken strips and fries. Now, I'll tell you what, I like chicken strips and fries as much as the next guy. I enjoy my trips to the Dairy Queen. I think the best queen of all time isn't Queen Elizabeth. It's the Dairy Queen. You get that gravy, that's so good to make your tongue slap your brains out. You know what I'm saying, folks. But there's a time and place for everything. If I imagine Cooper Kupp's probably taking Sam Darnold out to a nice dinner in Seattle, showing him the state of Washington, and Sam's ordering chicken strips. Like, you got to do better than that. Like, come on now. With that said, it's all about balance, right? I do like on a serious note, I do like the chemistry already showing, the camaraderie between these two. They're already on the same page. So yeah, it's all good fun between these two there. I went on a date. It was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, with this girl, and we went to a restaurant that specialized in their chicken strips. And I ordered the chicken strips. She was not happy with me. Said, "I will not allow you to eat chicken strips." And I did it anyway because I'm a man. I can do whatever the hell I want. And there was no second date after that because I held my ground. I was not going to be told what to do. And then I let her try my chicken strips, and she realized, oh, you're right. So I can kind of, sympathize here with Sam in that sense. Nick, all right, Sam. Nick Fury. Hashtag Seahawks. Hashtag fearless leader. That's right. You're damn right I'm your fearless leader. Best case scenario and worst case scenario for the Seahawks this season. Best case scenario is, I think, 12, 13 wins, which would mean everything. Literally everything goes right for this team. Worst case scenario is Sam Darnold struggles, Cooper Kupp gets hurt, JSN takes a step back, the defense deals with a lot of injuries, and they're all of a sudden a 5 or 6 win football team. I lean towards mostly closer to the best case scenario. I think this team could win 11 games this year. But a lot's going to have to go right in order for that to happen. We shall see. Folks, want to make sure not only you're subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today, but you're part of the Noti Gang. And you may be saying, what is the Noti Gang? Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on. And they're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel, from our daily news and rumors to the live shows we do 3 days a week, the watch parties we're doing in the season, anytime there's breaking news, Q&A mailbags. We got it all here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Hit that Noti bell. If you're part of that Noti gang, you already know what to do. Spam Noti gang in the comments and subscribe now for free. youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. You'll be glad you did. Go fast, Dale. Raise hail, praise Dale. My dad, this past weekend, I got him a test drive at Texas Motor Speedway with my guy David Starr, NASCAR driver, great friend of mine, great guy. He does a racing school. TeamTexas.com is where you can catch him out. And I said my dad did it for Dale. He was going 160 miles an hour, 10 laps around Texas Motor Speedway. It was awesome. What's the saying? Drive fast, eat ass. But anyways, Should Seattle consider trading for Allen Lazard? You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this. If you had asked me, had Allen Lazard played for the Seattle Seahawks, the average person, you'd probably say to yourself, yeah, he sounds like a Seahawks receiver, a guy that would be like a number 3 or 4 guy, probably spent like a year or two here. You know, Allen Lazard seems like he would fit this team. And with that said, he's obviously never played it down for Seattle. He's played his entire career with Aaron Rodgers. Here's my question when it comes to Allen Lazard. And I think this is a very fair thing to ask. Who is he without Aaron Rodgers? Because when Zach Wilson was the full-time starter for most of 2023, Lazard's numbers dipped significantly. Then his old pal Aaron comes back in 2024. The Achilles is fixed and everything, and the Jets were a bit of a mess. They bring in Devontae Adams. You got Garrett Wilson and all that. And his numbers went back up again. Well, now, Lazard, unless he gets traded to Pittsburgh, which I wouldn't roll out at this point. Time of this recording hasn't been traded there anyway. What's he going to be? And for a very cheap cost of like a 7th-round pick, I'd be intrigued. I'd feel a lot better about Allen Lazard being your number 3 receiver than MVS, personally speaking. I'm open to this idea. I don't hate the idea of bringing in Allen Lazard. Your chance to be the GM here on Seahawks Today. Should Seattle trade for Allen Lazard? Type T for trade, P for pass. Way in the comments section, tell me what you think. The Seahawks fan Jay says, are we getting Amari Cooper? Well, at the time of this recording, Amari Cooper is still out there, and we have not heard anything. There's been no momentum towards that. Things could change pretty fast, but I would lean towards no. Would I like Amari Cooper? Absolutely. I would love to have Amari Cooper. But at least as of right now, that doesn't seem to be that there's any momentum towards that happening. But you never know. You never know. Kind of like what we talked about with Allen Lazard. I'd rather have Amari be your number 3 than MVS, quite frankly. I'd feel much better if MVS is your number 4 receiver. Bug versus Windshield writes in, was the Michael Dickson contract worth it? So you paid Mike, or old boy Mike. We call him Mike around here. 4 years, $16.2 million, to be exact, was the money that he received. And he is now the highest paid punter in all of football. And I got into it with some folks in the comments section the other day about this. Because somebody said to me, Tyler, you had him as a cut candidate. You thought he was going to get cut. And now you're lying. You're praising about him being re-signed, saying it was a good deal and all this. Well, first off, moron, I had him as a cut candidate at the time because Seattle was needing some money. And when you are pressed for cash, one of the very first things you should look at is your special teamers. And replacing them is the easiest position to replace for younger and cheaper. Fortunately for Seattle, they found money. And they found money to pay Michael Dickson, too. So I think it's fine. Michael's probably one of the top 3 punters in football. He is statistically the last 3 seasons. And it didn't hurt you. It didn't affect his cap number for this year either. I think it's fine. And the cap situation, now that you've course-corrected and changed out a lot of the cap this offseason, looks a lot better going forward from here. So, no, I think it is worth it. I think it's just fine to bring Michael Dickson back. Seahawks Roll writes in, we still need a guard. What about trading for Alijah Vera-Tucker? There's an idea. There's an idea. Let's talk about Alijah Vera-Tucker. Not an old guy. Jets are in fire sale mode as they begin a new era. I was reading that their new head coach, Aaron Glenn, he is instituting a Bible study within his team. And normally I'm like pro separation, church and state. But in the case of the New York Jets, they need all the help they can from God at this point. With that said, you look at Alijah Vera-Tucker, he's good at everything. Offensive grade is 77.7. Pass block grade is 74.5. Run block grade is 76.3. whether you put him at left guard or right guard and put the great Gray Zabel on the other side, you can make that work, and all of a sudden you're feeling a lot better about this offensive line. You get a quality offensive lineman. If New York's willing to trade him, sign me up. Make that phone call, John. Bring him in. To me, that would be a home run that, folks, for the right price, if you don't overpay, that could be the best move of the entire offseason, is bringing in Vera-Tucker. I would be all for that, and I think that would be a home run for Seattle if they do so. Should the Seahawks trade for Alijah Vera-Tucker? Type Y for yes, in for no. Sound off in the comments and let us know if they should trade for him or not. Got a great deal for Seahawks fans. Nike T-shirts on sale now for $15.99. Chatsports.com/Seahawks T to get yours today. It is getting hot outside. You need some T-shirts. You need to be supporting your favorite team at the same time. $15.99 is where you can get yours at chatsports.com/Seahawks T. And they're available in all different shapes and sizes. We got other Seahawks merchandise available at that same link, so you can check it out. Chatsports.com/Seahawks T. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Super chat coming in from Xander. How about our boy Michael Dickson getting a big deal with his extension? Lots of guys. It's awesome. He played in the AFL. No wonder he got that second. Yeah, it's great. I'm excited. I think he'll do a good job. And the other thing, too, you look at the special teams unit. It was a disaster last year. It wasn't because of Michael Dickson. He did his job. Michael Dickson, I have seen no signs of slowing down. He'll continue to be a reliable piece. What's Kurt Ferentz, the Iowa coach, say about punting? That punting is our best offense. You hate when that's the case, but sometimes it is. And Seattle has needed Michael Dickson to come through for them more than a few times, and he's delivered. Last question, Raw Hector writes in, if we sign a top corner, does that mean we're not re-signing Woolen? TBD. I think a lot depends on how Woolen looks this year. I'd say a work in progress. We've seen Woolen look really good and not so good. And struggle with tackling. He's been a turnover machine at times, and then not so much at times. We'll have to wait and see on that, but you might be onto something there. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. Turn on notifications. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.